Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
It is, man, the week's flown by when you're having fun. Today's guest on Thursday, including Farhan, standing by, brought to you by the Vancouver Giants. Connor Bedard makes one more visit to the LEC for the CHL Top Prospects game. We just talked about it, January 25th. The only way into the sold-out contest is by purchasing the Top Prospects pack, which starts at $99. It includes the Top Prospects game, as well as 3 other Giants games: Feb 1st versus Prince Albert, the 24th versus Prince George, March 3rd versus Victoria. These packages can only be purchased by calling 604-4-GIANTS. The Canucks lose to the Lightning by a score of 5-2 last night as they open a 4-game homestand. All the Rick Tocchet rumors going around. A lot of people saying this deal could be done. Tocchet coming to Vancouver, replacing Bruce Boudreau by Monday. There was Andrei Kuzmenko's parents in attendance. Fartgate. We haven't talked about the new third uniforms for the Canucks. All of that. We bring in now from TSN Farhan Lalji. How are you, sir?
Good. Here to talk about Fartgate.
Yeah.
Break it down.
Well, I know
you guys have had that on your show, and you just both blamed Henderson.
Yeah, you're on to us, Farhan. Very good. Okay, so 5-2 Lightning over the Canucks. Farhan, you're a coach. You coached football for a long time, and the two sports, anybody can relate to. If you coach football, you know what it's like to coach pretty much any other sport, I think, anyway. How could a team play consistently well? Knowing their head coach isn't long for the organization?
That's a good question because, I do believe they like Bruce Boudreau. I do believe they're attempting to listen to Bruce Boudreau. But ultimately, the team's just not very good, right? I mean, we know there's structural issues. So I know it's easy to say, look, they should rally behind Bruce if they really want him to be there. But I just don't know how a team can tune out a guy so quickly that they played so well for a year ago. So I just don't believe they have. I just think that motivation is different. The structural problems are glaring. And truthfully, even yesterday, right? I mean, they outshot Tampa by a wide margin in the first period, right? And they're down 4-0. Mm-hmm. And, while they had a volume of shots, they didn't necessarily have nearly the scoring chances they gave up, and the chances they gave up to Tampa were incredibly egregious. And just watching the team and its defensive zone coverage and lack of awareness, it's mind-boggling to me that this can happen at a professional level. You talk about me coaching football. Mm-hmm. Donnie, you've coached minor hockey. I bet you your minor hockey teams that Quinn played for were structurally more aware and better in their own end than the Vancouver Canucks, right? Like it's shocking to me that they play that way, but they're in this no man's land because if you talk about what they should be doing, and I almost think that if they, like, as weird as this sounds, I almost think that they're trying too hard to play with structure they're just not understanding or capable of. If they just played the way they did last year, they'd almost be less in the way, right? And right now they're almost in the way of their goaltenders when you look at how they screen them. So and then truthfully, 3-0 or 4-0, they're down in their third period. They played great to get back into the game. And I know Tampa's had back a little bit in score effects, but how many times have we looked at this team and said they haven't even tried with even a small amount of pushback when they needed to do something in the third period? They're still trying for the man. They're just not very good, guys.
Yeah, the Kuzmenko goal, among others, was just awful last night when you talk about structure. That was something that I don't think many minor hockey teams would allow, at least at the rep level. Do you admire the honesty that Jim Rutherford displayed earlier this week at his press conference?
Yeah, I mean, look, I admire his ability to want to stay in there and hang in and continue to take the punches, right? I mean, C-Mac, their PR guy, was ready to pull the pin at a reasonable time, right? It's not like he was going to do it too soon. And Rutherford said, no, I'm good. I'm answering these questions. And ultimately, when the team's this bad and there's so much drama swirling around it, you haven't talked for half a season and your GM just isn't equipped to talk. You have to kind of sit in there and take some of those arrows. I appreciate his honesty, if not his vision, right? Because I don't think there's many of us that listen to what he had to say and think he has a true understanding of the market. Because he talked about patience and how everybody wants this turned around quick. And I got news for you. They don't. They want it done right. I think the fans in this market have endured so much pain over the last 8 years. they're in for a long rebuild. But I don't think Jim is, and I don't think ownership is. And honestly, I don't think ownership is forcing this on Jim. I just think this is how Jim wants to do it. And I think he believes this is the right way to do it. So I think they're aligned from that perspective, but I'm just not convinced this is the right way to do it, because how do you justify going out and considering a $6 million a year Andrei Kuzmenko deal and you won't consider an $8 million a year Bo Horvat deal? It's crazy to me, right? Especially after overspending on JT Miller.
Yes, you hear that?
Yes, I hear everything. Farhan, I want to hear your views on Nathan Rourke. Jacksonville is the team he picked. A lot of people surprised. I mean, Lawrence is there. And so what's behind the decision to go to Jacksonville?
Well, I think a lot of things needed to align. I believe you guys had him on your show, and he understands that that's a reasonable question. There's probably 5 quarterbacks right now that have the pedigree of Trevor Lawrence, and they're guys like Mahomes and Burrow and Allen and and Herbert. Like that's what he's in. And I'm not saying he's as good as those guys yet, but number 1 overall, massive pedigree. He is going to be a starter in this league and a star in this league for a long time, right? So, but everything else also needed to line up, because the teams that you looked at and you thought maybe it made more sense based on their quarterback situation, maybe didn't have the love and appreciation for Nathan. They might not have had the stable front office or the coach that's known to be a quarterback savant and having the right system and all of those things. So there were a number of things that needed to line up, and there was just not the perfect situation where it lined up and they wanted him as bad and were willing to give him a guarantee and all of those things. So I admire him because he decided to bet on himself a bit and take the situation that made more sense from the other areas, right? He had the advocate in the room like Henry Burris. He had the guarantee, so he knew he wasn't just going to be a camp arm. He had a stable situation around him. So I think the fact that he decided, look, I'm going to take all of those. I know I'm going to get developed well. I'm going to get an opportunity in the preseason. Maybe if Lawrence gets hurt, I get to play a few games and show well and set myself up for the next opportunity. Because, think of what way back the Washington football team, they were under a different name back then, but when they drafted Kirk Cousins behind RG3, and people thought, well, what are they doing there, right? But what happened was they created value. A situation arose, he got developed, the situation arose where he could get some playing time behind an injured quarterback, and then, they were able to create value there, right? And set themselves up for the next opportunity, both club and player. And I think the right situation could happen that way for Nathan Rourke as well. So, good on him. I'm curious to see how it turns out.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's probably very deflating for the Lions organization in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I wonder if season ticket sales from here forward are going to be affected. We'll see. But how do the Lions approach this and try to get some of that, that buzz back that Nathan had brought to Vancouver?
Build a great team and keep marketing it, right? I mean, I know people are going to have their different opinions on Vernon Adams, right? And I thought there were lots of ups and downs, but still 4-2 as a starter. And I fully believe that if he has a full off season to get comfortable with his guys, a full training camp, Jordan McSimic, who's a really bright young mind as an offensive coordinator, will learn to tailor the offense a little bit more around what Vernon's skill sets are, like he did with Nathan, who you can say he had every skill set, but he was still a rookie. I think that Vernon can have success. And when I look around the league, not a lot of names jump out at me that I think are going to be better than Vernon Adams in the current circumstance that he's going to get next year. So invest more in the O-line and, invest more in other areas of the team and set Vernon up for a lot of success, and for Amar Doman keep doing what he's doing in terms of marketing the team. Look, Nathan Rourke's a loss for the entire Canadian Football League. It is. Yeah. But as far as the football ecosystem is concerned in this country, I think it's a positive, because he can get more kids out playing football by having his NFL platform. And, I hope that happens as a guy that's invested in amateur football. So for me, don't compare Vernon Adams to Nathan Rourke, because the last time any quarterback in this league, including guys like Caleros, Riley, Lule, and Mitchell, none of them had an 8-game stretch like Nathan Rourke did. You got to go back to Doug Flutie. Mm-hmm. So he's not a fair comparison for anybody, but he can still be a top 3 quarterback in this league. The Lions can play entertaining football and win on his watch. And if the owner continues to invest and have concerts and do the things he's doing, I think the franchise can be in a good place.
Yeah, they're in good hands. Farhan, just very quickly, if you don't mind, back to the Canucks situation. Do you think Rick Tocchet, from what you know, would be the answer?
I don't know if he's the answer. And I'll be honest with you, Donnie. Right now, you know what they're looking for as much as anything else? Somebody that can keep JT Miller in line and hold him accountable. And they've signed this deal, and that's one of the things that needs to happen now.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, they've been doing it with other guys.
Great
but
point.
could you imagine if they ever sat JT Miller? And I don't know that his play warrants that, because he is starting to get a little bit better offensively. But there are moments where he's not the best guy to be around and lead this team, right? And you need somebody that can hold JT Miller accountable in that locker room. And I think that's priority number one. So as I say that, think about where that leaves this team. That's crazy if that's a priority right now.
Thanks for this. Where are you off to this weekend, by the way? You've been traveling a lot lately.
Nowhere. I'm going to sit on my couch. I'm going to watch all the games and watch my son play 7-on-7 in Seattle. And then I'll travel for the conference finals and the Super Bowl, obviously. So that'll be good.
Sounds like fun.
Somebody in our Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox is wondering if you're wearing pajamas.
Oh, no, I'm wearing sweats, though. I'm wearing sweats. I'll give you that. And slides. Bedroom slippers.
Just a question in the Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox. I'm just passing along,
Okay.
It's a TSN sweatshirt. I'm allowed.
You look outstanding.
Where's my Donnie and Dolly sweatshirt? Where's my Donnie and Dolly
sweatshirt?
Get
your wallet out. Get your wallet out and order it.
We got to get Farhan at the very least a sweatshirt. Okay. A hoodie.
You know what I'll do? I'll just continue to wear Hawaiian shirts in honor of Rick Dollywall, because you and I were wearing the same color last week.
Only on Fridays.
Thanks, Farhan.
All right. See you guys.
I was going to say safe travels. He says he's going to Seattle.
Seattle.
So safe travels to Farhan.